Okay. Yeah, the one I had you connected to, I think the battery finally gave out. So, because that turned out that power strip wasn't on.
We'll run my worthless phone until she dies. It's all good.
But you don't have unlimited data though, do you?
Yeah, we
Yes.
On tethering? Who's your carrier?
T-Mobile.
Oh yeah, I think you do. So do you pay an extra like 20 a month to allow the hotspotting? Is that how they do
do. We
it?
think so.
Yeah,
$5.
cool.
Right.
Oh, that's great. T-Mobile's good.
Except for their coverage. Sucks.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so here's the deal. Verizon and Sprint has a special network called CDMA. And you can't make calls and be on the internet at the same time. Not that that's a big deal, but there's certain times where you're talking to somebody about going to a certain spot or something on the phone and you can't look it up and all that. And then I always say about AT&T, you just can't make any calls at all because there's no reception. So AT&T's network allows you to do both. T-Mobile allows you to do both because it's GSM also. But the coverage is tough. And even the Sprint coverage sometimes can be kind of wonky. All right, I think I'm... And it's getting better, though, with this whole LTE rollout. It's gotten much better. Fantastic. We are cooking with gas again here. Okay. All right. Great. So, apps. Apps are these little things that our iOS device uses.
You want to start recording?
I am. Thank you. I already am. So, and it really has made the iPhone and the iPad so much more than just what it is inside. And it was really, it's hard to tell if that was really in the grand scheme of things, but when the first iPhone came out, the only apps were the ones that came with the device. The camera app, the Maps app, and things like that. Safari, Mail, things like that. So it really, it's just amazing what you can do now with apps. And inside your phone or your iPad are all these sensors. A GPS, an accelerometer. So the accelerometer can tell if I'm this way or this way. Believe it or not, in the GarageBand app, which is like a keyboard, the accelerometer can tell how hard you're tapping the key to increase or decrease the volume, like on a regular piano when you hit the key. The accelerometer uses that. It's just amazing things. We talked about an ambient light sensor, so it's constantly adjusting that. And all this stuff is inside that little device. Well, smart apps learn how to leverage that device in many different ways. We talked about how the App Store now, if you go to the App Store, you can say local apps near me. If you'll notice, right here is a new category that says near me. And that would be apps appropriate to your location. And the majority of apps are free, but the newest thing is what's called freemium. Freemium, be careful. Because what happens with freemium, you get this free app. Want some candy, little girl? And then they say, okay, you've done 4 levels of that app. But if you want more features, give us $1.99. Or in my case, 20% less. And it can really, these people that get stuck in some of these games before they know it, and I'm talking about adults, not just kids. The kids, the same thing. But every time if you have to make an in-app purchase, it's going to ask you for your password, or in the iPhone 5S, you can use your thumb. So that protects you. The little kid might know your password, but if you have the fingerprint reader and you haven't done it to his fingerprint, you're going to have to use your fingerprint for them to buy something. Actually, I take that back. You still have to use it. You can use the passcode. But be careful of that. And what I do is, when I see a free app that has in-app purchases, I usually tend to avoid it and try to find some sort of alternative. And it really depends on what we want to do. So apps, I mean, they're just huge. I have a big list of apps, and I'm going to pop through a few of these. But I think the most important apps are our core apps. First is messages, photos. We're going to probably, Pete does a whole iPhoto class which gets into that. We talked about the camera earlier. The map. I mean, the map is just amazing. I go to the map app, and I hit this little triangle right here, and it locates me where I am. When you go to use the compass, it says calibrate. Now, I move my thing around like a game, like a video game. It's not freemium. I won't have to pay more. And that calibrated my internal compass because it was messed up a little bit. I have a magnetic latch on here, so my iPhone compass does that. That little calibration makes it now, when I move my... oh, it's in the screen, but if I move... It's not doing it on here. Let's do it on the iPhone. There, it finally caught up. Finally caught up. So, see here, I'm moving the direction I'm facing. It's using the built-in compass. Okay? So you hit this little arrow down here in the lower left. You hit it once, and so let's go off map. Let's go downtown Sacramento, let's say, or there's McClellan, right? So if I hit the little arrow one time, tap, it zooms into where I am. If I tap the arrow again, it gives me magnetic where I am. For some reason it wants to calibrate again. So I just move that little ball around. Boom. Now as I point this, you can see it's rotating. Now, why do I want to rotate? Oh, that's to calibrate the internal compass, or the internal compass is all that is. It essentially says, okay, I've gone this way, I've gone this way. Oh, now I'm calibrated, and it's very accurate.
Mine isn't good.
Yours may not have to do it, only if it needs calibration. So this is not anything you're going to use a lot of, but it just gives you that option. But the other really amazing thing is when you hit the little eye, or actually when I hit the compass in the upper right here, I can say, no, just orient me to north all the time. That's usually how it is. By the way, it knows where in the world you are by GPS, so you can set your compass to give you either true or magnetic north. Because depending on where you are, true and magnetic north can be up to 20 degrees different. So,
But if you hit it and the state on that means your map is always north? Is that what you're saying?
no, if you do the compass where it's flaring out like the compass, it's whichever way you're headed. It shows you it shows you north all the time, but when you're heading, it rotates with you. In other words, normally the map is north up all the time, except when you're in GPS, it follows where you're going.
I have topographic.
Oh, great. So she's got topographic. She's got a map, and if you go to map, and now the old one used to have a little page turn, page corner down here. If we hit the I, it comes up and it says, do you want standard, hybrid, or satellite? She has satellite.
Oh.
If you have hybrid, it will show an overlay of the streets over the satellite, okay? The other thing is, I can show or hide traffic, and that's a real-time traffic report. Do you remember the guys that used to fly around in the helicopters? Hi, this is Dr. Bill, and we've got a traffic on the Y80 at Madison. And this report is coming from the same place the radio stations get their traffic reports from. It's all those little cameras and all those little embedded things that they've put in the freeways and things around town. The traffic is real time. So,
Where did you get that from?
if you hit the I on the lower right,
Slow traffic.
right here,
Show traffic.
show traffic. You want to show traffic. Bless you, Al. And if you look at my iPhone, it shows me that, oh, there's a little bit of road construction right here. And I can tap on that and it tell me what it says.
How do you back out?
How do I back
Get
out?
further away.
All right. It's weird. It's called pinch to zoom. So, 2 fingers, multi-touch. I'm going to zoom out, moving my fingers apart, or zoom in, or single tap, double tap, single finger. Let's turn the thing off. Oop, I don't want the compass. That's it. Okay. So if I double tap a single finger, it zooms in. Double tap a single finger, double tap a single finger. If I double tap 2 fingers, actually single tap 2 fingers, it zooms out. Okay? Or you can pinch the zoom, but I can also pinch the zoom, and then I take 1 finger and move the map around where I want it. Okay? Maps is powerful.
I know. How do you learn more about maps?
Use it. Just use it. There's not a ton to learn. It's just use it. But what's funny is if I go up on this, you know, we have Siri and you can say, where's the nearest Starbucks or whatever. But watch what happens when I do this. Remember we asked it about sushi. But I'm going to go up and tap on the very top up here. And I'm going to just type in Starbucks. Actually, you know, I'm not on the internet, so my microphone's not working. So I'm going to hit, I'm going to clear everything up there and hit Starbucks. Then watch the screen. Don't do this. Watch the screen. And I hit search. And look at all these pins drop for Starbucks. We know there's a bunch of Starbucks around. So those pins all drop. But let's say that's not the one I want to go to. I want to go to this one up here. So I tap on that one. And then, now it has a little I info by it. It says 13 minutes. But if I tap the I, watch what happens. It pulls up more information. And if it were on my iPhone and I tap that, it would call that Starbucks. Famously, Steve Jobs, when he introduced this on the very first iPhone, January 9th, 2007, ordered 30,000 lattes from the nearest Starbucks. And they hung up real quick. But everybody still calls that number anyway. This is the address. And here. How did I get there? Somebody started to ask.
How did you get the keyboard down?
When I hit search, the keyboard goes down. The keyboard comes up when it wants you to enter stuff.
Where is search?
If you tap,
You mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Just like in Safari. So that's up there. Now the cool thing is, I have different tabs up there. I can tap on reviews, which are Yelp reviews of that Starbucks. Photos from that Starbucks. These are all new. Or info. And in the info, I can click right there and go to their website. There's a great restaurant right nearby here called Cobb Coon if you like Thai food. Their website was made in iweb.com, or iweb, KHOBKOON. Search. There it is. And there's where they are. And, oh, they got pretty good. They got 4. I could, and it was, because like Starbucks, I could, let's put in, or I can tell Siri to do it, but THAI food. And now I'm going to zoom the map. So what happens is when I do a search, well, that's weird, because it doesn't have a GPS. It thinks I'm there. Let's do it on the iPhone. So, yeah, I don't know why it says Thai food, but I just put Thai. So there it dropped a bunch of them. But now I'm going to move the map, okay? I'm moving the map on my iPhone, and I'm going to search for Thai again. It searches where you're on the map.
Oh, that's
There, see it came up here?
You like Thai food?
No, those aren't mine.
Oh.
That's a Google search. Or, I'm sorry, not Google, it's not using Google. It's a Yelp search. So wherever I have the map, let's go see if there's any Thai food near, oh, let's go to Woodland. We'll zoom into Woodland a little bit. So there's Woodland, right? The bastion of Thai food, I'm sure. So if I hit at the top and hit there and hit search for Thai, there's the closest ones to Woodland. There they are. It searches, no matter how big or how small your map is, it's going to search within your map. Okay?
I'm flunking. Typed in Thai food and nothing comes out.
Well, hang on. That'd be good. Well,
What have I done?
So tap on
Don't
type.
use this
And now just hit search in the lower right. There we go. Yeah, it released your keyboard and didn't accomplish a search. This is essentially the same as when you use a search in Safari. You can add bookmarks to your Google, I keep calling it Google Maps. This is Apple Maps. And the reviews are Yelp reviews, by the way.
But I do directions, which I use all the time. You only have two options. It's either it tells you the next step. The next step.
Well, let's bring that up.
Or an overview, because I kind of want to know where.
So let's show here. So if I'm going to go to, why does it say Thai Foob? So here's Thai. Okay, I'm going to go to this one right over here. So I tap on that, right?
Yeah.
Now I have the option to say directions, and I tap directions.
Or you could have hit it directions to here from the
But I can easily just hit the arrow if that's the one that's selected. So I'm going to hit route. Now, route or route. This one gave me a choice. If you'll notice, getting out of here, I have the dark blue line as suggested one. And if you use Siri and say, take me to here, it's going to take the suggested route. But you'll notice this route, I could go this way. And if I go down here, I can take this other route. Okay? So to take those, and what's really funny here is, so where it says 21 minutes, if I tap on 21 minutes, it changes it to that route. Many times you have a favored route you want to go. You can tell maps to avoid freeways. You can tell it to avoid toll roads. So it does your directions, and then when I hit start, it's going to give me this.
Starting route to Pattaya Cafe Thai Cuisine.
Now,
Head east on Encino Avenue, then turn left onto Alta Vista Avenue.
It always shows your next turn if it's within 2 miles. But right here at the bottom, I hit this, and it shows me my turn list.
Will it show both?
Yes, it's exactly the same on the phone. It won't do both because you want to see the map or you want to see the list.
Yeah.
So, as you go, it progresses and helps and follows you along. The sound is actually better than watching the screen. Listen to her and she'll do it fine. So you don't have to see it, but you can. I have a mount for my iPhone right next to my steering wheel. So it's in my line of sight. If we click off of that, here's the overview. If I hit overview in the upper right.
It'd be nice if they'd make that split screen.
No, because you'd have less real estate. Why do you need a split screen? You can always hit overview.
Yeah, I know, and I do. I toggle.
And I can tell Siri, so if I'm resuming, what is my time of arrival? This is the iPad. We'll see if Siri works again. Okay. Siri striking out here.
I'm not sure what you said.
Give me directions to Sacramento International Airport.
Getting directions to Sacramento International Airport.
Okay, so she's loading that, and since I had Siri do it, she's not going to give me route choices. She's going to take me on the one she thinks
Starting
I should
route
use.
to Sacramento
And then she
International
starts it out.
Airport. Head east on Encino Avenue, then turn left onto Alta Vista Avenue.
So now I can say, what time is my arrival?
You should arrive in about 32 minutes.
Now,
When she gives you those directions to get to the airport, does she take into account any of the traffic conditions, or does she just give you the best route from point A to point B?
the best route would be considerate of traffic, and yes, she will, to some extent.
Does she explain it all, the actual traffic conditions? Like
No, and it's funny, when you're in this navigation mode, you actually lose seeing the traffic. But again, their idea is you shouldn't be looking at your screen while you're driving. But what happens is this little blue overlay makes it hard to see the underlying traffic.
And I often drive the way I know. I don't exactly follow
she'll reroute.
Siri will react.
She will reroute. So I'm going along and I decide, oh, this road's blocked. I go around here, and she reroutes almost instantly, as long as you have data, and that's why it's usually on the iPhone that you do it. And your iPhone has a better GPS anyway. So when I'm in this mode, this is how she normally looks. If I tap my screen, I get the rest of my information here. When I tap my screen, it goes back away. But you have how long it's going to take you, how far it is, and what your estimated time of arrival is. I didn't put this in my apps, but there's an app called Twist, T-W-I-S-T, that you can, it will text whoever you want it to, and it will update them on your time of arrival. Twist. Okay, so I'm out of that. We're going back through our basics here. The clock we talked about earlier. Now, the new logo for Photo Booth is here. Play with Photo Booth. It's fun. If you have kids, grandkids, neighbor kids, you can have them and you can do fun things with that. Our contacts, I keep having trouble finding it because of the new logo. Contacts, we had a full class on that yesterday. That's your address book. It's called Contacts on the Mac and on the iPhone now. Reminders we talked about earlier. Newsstand. Anybody use Newsstand? Okay, we'll skip. Newsstand, there's really just, you can subscribe to magazines. Newsstand is free, and most of the time the magazine's free to get the magazine on there, but each issue sometimes costs. There's another great magazine app called Flipboard, and you can keep a lot of different things in it. It's displayed like a magazine, but it's mostly websites and things like that. It's not true magazines, but it does it in the magazine format. The iTunes Store. Now here's the difference. We used to have iTunes on our iOS device. We now have the iTunes Store, and we have music. Music is what you have on your phone and the iTunes Radio, where iTunes Store is where you buy movies, where you go to get podcasts, where you buy music. All that stuff is in the iTunes Store. The App Store, that's where you want to be. The App Store is killer. There's, I forget what last count it is. It's like 100,000 apps. I just have Gmail up here. You can use Apple Mail or you can use Gmail app. It's pretty cool. I have Google Search on here because Google Search is actually very handy on the iPhone because Google Search can use your camera to read barcodes. I saw a piece of, not a piece of art, it was a photograph of one thing, and I wanted to see if it's a poster you can normally get and stuff. I took a picture of it in Google Search and it searched for the image. It used to solve Sudoku puzzles, but it won't anymore. You could take a picture of a Sudoku puzzle and it would solve it up. I haven't got it to do that anymore, so that's a little aside. But Google Search is very, very good. So if I click on Google Search, it's just Google Search. So let me pull down, actually, launch Google Search. So there they are. So now you'll notice I even have a microphone in here. Google has been making some real big progress in real-time speech, artificial intelligence. So you just say certain sentences and it'll really pull up what you want. So I want to show that. This other thing is what's called Google Goggles. It's not on the iPad version because it doesn't always have, you don't always have cameras on the iPad, but in Google Goggles, I can take a picture of something and it'll search for similar things. I can take a picture of a DVD cover and it'll tell me the name and where I can get that DVD. It'll do QR codes and barcodes also. Okay, so that's just Google Search. It's an app. It's free. You could spend 3 hours on Google Search apps. Well, to search, the best thing, first of all, I invoice from my iPhone. And I wanted to find the best, easiest. Oh, when you have one? Great question. So if you have an app, we go and we just go here, stop in the middle and pull down. and this searches for your apps. It's Spotlight. Pull down from the center. Just tap in the center and pull down.
And it says the App Store.
No, just go this. If you have the app already, you pull down from Spotlight. Hit your home button. Just grab the middle of the screen and slide down. Not up high, middle of the screen. There. That will search all your apps. But if you know what the app is, you can tell Siri to do it. You know?
I can't find Siri again.
Press and hold the home button.
Oh.
Launch Soul.
So.
It launches my Soul app.
I will do that. Thank
All right. So if we go back to the home, and I used to use Spotlight to search for my apps all the time, but I have Siri find my apps for me now. FaceTime, video calls, Apple device to Apple device, from your computer, your iPad, your iPhone. Okay? Doesn't do FaceTime calls with anybody not in that environment. There's talk that they're going to open it up to everybody, and can you imagine being anywhere in the world, making a FaceTime audio call to any other computer or any other device, including Androids? We think that's coming. There were some, believe it or not, there were some patent issues because there was a company that claimed some prior art and all this, and that's why Apple has held back on it, because they didn't want it to be really popular, because then it would be worth so much that the guy would make more on this bogus patent. Yeah, and Anna makes a great point. It used to be that to do a FaceTime call, your iPhone had to be on Wi-Fi and not 3G. They made it so it finally would. That was up to the carriers, because they want you to use more of that data. You're buying buckets of data. They want to sell you more buckets of data. But luckily, those of us with the AT&T Unlimited plan, they 6 months ago made it so we could do it too. Verizon you should be able to. I didn't. They were on board with. You have a Verizon Unlimited plan? Oh, then they don't care, because they want you to use a lot of FaceTime calls, so you have to buy more data. They say, please, please. All right, so those are the base apps. There's a few more apps.
Can you watch the name of that
SOL.
SOL app again? I can't find it. We have more than that.
It's just SOL. I got to show you this one because I use this. I have this app go on my iPhone. It's running in the background. It takes very little effort. But what this does is I set alarm. I take sunrise photos and I take sunset photos. If there's clouds in the sky, I'll do it. If it's clear, it's boring. But I set Sol to put up a little bing a half hour before sunrise. Thank goodness it did this morning, because it was a beautiful sunrise this morning. And it tells me an hour before sunset. So if I'm out doing stuff and I'm with a client, I can look, I'm almost done. Okay, I'll get home, get my camera. I've got spots to go. And it'll tell me an hour. I can set it for whatever I want. And it goes by where you are in GPS. There's another app that's really good called Moon. Moon tells you what the moon rise is and the moon set. And the other one I use just really quickly is called Sun GPS, because I like it because it actually shows me my altitude and everything in one quick little app. But SOL it should be. Sol. If you can't find it, let me know. I'm sorry?
It shows you your altitude. How high you are.
On the Sun GPS it does. Actually, it's not necessarily my altitude. What it tells me is, like, out by where I am, it uses the Mather weather station and it says that altitude. There are apps for your phone that will show your altitude. My mother used to need oxygen, well, she needs oxygen above 5,000 feet. So when I drive her to Arizona, I'd put in Motion X GPS and it would show me my current altitude, because GPS triangulates and tells you your altitude. And I'd say, oh, we got to switch the oxygen on, we're above 5,000 feet. Motion Drive, I think, Motion X or Motion Drive. It's free. It's a GPS. There are some other ones called Elevation and things like that. Actually, I can say, let's try Siri. What's my current elevation? I don't know if it'll work or not.
Okay, give me a moment. Okay, I found this.
Electric current, standard units. Electric current, physical. Nope. So anyway. Yeah.
Oh, good.
What's my elevation? Maybe.
My web search turned this up.
Find the elevation of your current rotation. It's a Google search, so boom. Let's see what it says. What's my elevation? Would like to use your current location. Safari has the ability to use your current location, and I'll say okay. Wait a minute.
Would we do 162 because we're seeing?
It's actually using the GPS for where I am. No, that was in Safari. But I had Siri find it. Yeah, but there's some apps like Elevation. Let's see if I don't find it. Launch Elevation. There's some great ones for skiers. It'll add up your altitude. You don't have to do anything because it knows when you're going downhill and then it knows you go uphill, and it'll add up your altitude. There's Runkeeper. There's some biking apps that tell you your elevation gain and loss, how far you've gone, different things like that. This is in this little thing that's in your pocket.
This, but I can't take any requests.
So
right
she's
now.
overloaded right
Try
now.
again in a little while.
Okay, I will. All right, let's keep going on some apps here. Sean, make sure you keep me on time, okay? 3:30. Remind me at 3:25 class break.
Here's your reminder for today at 3:25 p.m. Shall I create it?
Yes, confirm. So you use
Okay,
Spotlight
I'll
to
remind you.
find apps you have. You go to the App Store and you can search by apps, but to be honest, with that many apps, it's very hard. So I Google it. In fact, here was our perfect example. Let's say best elevation app for iPhone. Search the web for best elevation app for iPhone. So I told
My
Siri to
left
search the
turn
web.
is up.
So 5 best apps. Elevation sometimes is the social networking thing too. So here we go. So those of you that weren't here for my Safari class yesterday, notice these little lines right here? In Safari, that's called Reader, where I tap on that, and it gives me a clean version of what I'm looking at with all the other stuff not on the side. So now, notice this one, it says, my altitude for iPhone, iPad Touch. Actually, I should probably say best free elevation app. And again, Google, I mean, there's other people that have looked for this. I wanted a dash cam for my car, because they put red light cameras in Rancho Cordova, and those things kind of screw up sometimes. You get in a car wreck, they blame you. So I was going to develop this app because there wasn't one out there. This was the app, but I knew it'd be hard to make money, but I just wanted this app, and I wish I'd had time, I would have developed it, but I found an app called Dashcam. My iPhone can constantly, it's like a DVR. I can set it to go for 5 minutes, 30 minutes, and then it records over it. I went to Amazon, and for $23, I got a little camera that plugs into my cigarette lighter that uses an SD memory card and does it all the time, so I don't have to worry about it being my phone up there. But just things like that. Whatever you dream up, it's probably been done. So here are these things, but you'll notice this is a link that says iTunesApple.com. When I click on that, it will automatically take me to the App Store. It won't read about it. It pops open the App Store, and it'll take right to that app in the App Store. And now it's there, my altitude. Now, it's free, which is great. First thing I do is I go down and say, are there any, there's in-app purchases. So I'll go find one that doesn't. Oh, for 99 cents I can get it with no advertisements. How much do I pay?
20% less.
Right. Or I'll put up with the advertisements. In-app purchases, so they're giving you the app for free. But if you want to get rid of these advertisements, give us another 99 cents or 80 cents.
Or 80 so mostly has to do with advertisements.
Sometimes if it's a game, it's to go to multiple levels. Sometimes it's an app that has some capabilities. You can add capabilities to it. You got that lens app. There's a thing about doing lenses, and I think you added different lenses or something on it. Is how it was. Yeah. So it's it's more capabilities, and to be honest, it's fairly new, this whole freemium model, because once you buy an app, you own the app, and it's hard for them to make money on it again. So now they're doing, they give it away for free, they get it out there, people try it, and really that's very democratic. It's, hey, try it, you like it, if you want to continue, then you pay them for it. But you know what? It's so little cost for what you get.
Is the Find My Phone different on this one? On the new system?
Remind me, we'll go find my phone in a little bit, because I want to go through that. That's important. But no, it's essentially the same. So the other thing is, I'm in this app, and I want to see what people say about it. First, I can see how many reviews there are, and it looks like it gets, out of 32 reviews, it's 4+ stars, but I can read the reviews. Now, usually, you throw out the 1s and you throw out the 5s, because the 1s are people that are just haters anyway, and the 5s are people that know the developer, and they're making a cut. In this case, it's almost all 5s, so you got to believe it. And it costs how much? Free. And then you can decide if you want the in-app update. So that's the best way to search the App Store. But in the App Store, what's really cool is featured. We go check these every so often. You have Apple's editor picks. Here's design for iOS 7. These are apps that are designed specifically for iOS 7. TV guide. We're going to talk about TV apps here after the break. It's really, really cool what we can do. The America's Cup. NBC Sports and America's Cup had, well, NBC Sports Network had a live streaming app that showed the America's Cup live. I could go to the America's Cup app and use this thing called Virtual Eye, which gave me a virtual view of where the boats were and how far they were apart and everything else. It was a great two-screen experience. It was wonderful. The Olympics will be the same way. You'll probably have it on whoever it is, NBC or whatever, but you'll probably have other apps where you can follow other things behind the scenes or look into different types of events. So the App Store is full of stuff. You can also sort, like you notice at the top, this is new. You can do kids apps and things like that, what's appropriate for kids, etc. And again, oh, I should point out, let's go to the App Store again. If an app, let's just go, well, we'll click on 60 minutes. So you'll notice you can barely see it. There's a plus right by the price. A plus means you buy the app once and it works on the iPhone and the iPad. Sometimes there's apps on the iPhone, like Google Translate. They work on the iPad, but they're just like small, or you can blow them up. They're not formatted for the iPad. And there's specific apps that are just for the iPad because of the larger format. But a plus means you buy it once, it goes on both. In families, my mom has an iPad. She never wanted to use a computer or anything, but she finally decided, you know, I read the SACB cover to cover, and they always say go to sacb.com for more information. So at 87 years old, she's 89 now, she got an iPad. And she loves it. But what I did is I put us on the same iTunes account. That way, if I buy an app, I can upload it on hers for free. You can share, as long as you're on the same iTunes account, any number of devices. If you have if you're the, whatever that big family is that has all the kids, the
19 account or
whatever they are, they could have one iTunes account and everybody could have it on their devices. Okay? Go by the reviews. That's another important part. Okay. Pages, numbers, and Keynote. Use them. That's word processing. We have full classes on those. We'll continue to do more. And anytime you buy a new Apple device, it will come on it for free. It's not that much money anyway. Podcasts. Anybody here listen to Clark Howard? Oh my gosh, I'm Mr. Frugal. Clark Howard is the nicest radio talk show host you'll ever imagine. And he gives great tips on retirement, on saving money. That's how I found out about Freedom Pop, this free wireless internet. He's very techy and up on it, But he doesn't have an iPhone because that's considered a high-end phone. His wife has one, and he was driving a Nissan Leaf, and his wife drives a Tesla because he doesn't want to admit to having a very expensive car like a Tesla. And by the way, if you want to buy me a Tesla, I will happily take it because I am in love with Tesla automobiles. And I'm not an electric car freak. I'm in love with the car itself. It's gorgeous. They have a big 17-inch screen right on the dash. Yeah, Hertz has it now at San Francisco, LA, and New York, and a few others. You can rent the Tesla. No, they'll give you a test drive for free if you go down there, so they're pretty cool. They're going to come out with other ones. They're actually building them in Fremont where the old Toyota and GM factory was. So they're built in California. Completely electric, 300-mile range. And they have apps, of course, for that. So, podcasts. Clark Howard, I'm going to pull it up on my iPhone because that's where I have it. So I don't want to look for my podcast, so I'll say launch podcasts. Now, what's a podcast? A podcast is somebody that records their show. He, in fact, has a regular 2-hour radio show, and he records
I'm really
it.
sorry about this, but I can't take any requests right now.
Launch podcasts.
China must be giving it iPhones.
Yeah.
Is the app called Podcast?
Yes, and it's from Apple. It's probably built in. All right, so I'm going to have to use Spotlight. P-O-D. Now, when I use Spotlight, whatever I've clicked on the most recent or the most times comes to the top. So if I tap my podcast, it launches podcasts. Now, most podcasts are free. Not all of them. Tom Sullivan, he charges for his podcasts. Armstrong and Getty has free podcasts. So here's the cool thing. Armstrong and Getty, like them or not, they have a 4-hour radio show in the morning. And it's 4 hours. But they post their radio show after it's over for free. And each hour is only about 37 minutes because they cut out the ads. My time, that's an extra 13 minutes, 23 minutes per hour. So I can listen to 4 hours in a lot less time, but it gets better. I'm going to go over here to Clark Howard. Hopefully this will come through there. We'll see. Let's see. Headphones. We're going to lose it on the screen here for a second.
With a straight face, you're telling me somebody in an insurance company
sorry.
called the way they set the value an independent valuation?
So I'm listening to
Let
Clark
me tell you
Howard.
something. That is a big fat fairy tale.
See how slow radio people talk? Well, remember, Armstrong and Getty plays in 37 minutes. I'm too busy for that. So I'm going to tell Clark Howard
The way it
to
plays
play
in
at
the
1.5
insurance industry
speed.
is They use an insurance industry database to come up with the value of your vehicle, and it, as a general rule, will significantly undervalue your car. That's what I told her, and I said, "Can you send me that report?"
Now, wouldn't you expect normally it would sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, and it compresses that empty space between it all. I can play it at double speed. Hope you have caffeine-free coffee.
And when they sent it to me, we reviewed it and called the dealers where these things are being sold. They said, "Oh no, we didn't retail that. That's awesome. It doesn't have this stuff." Okay,
So my phone's with me on my hip all the time. And I have my iPhone headphones in my pocket all the time. And when I go into Home Depot, when I'm waiting to get a haircut, when I'm getting my oil changed, I play my podcasts. And my Armstrong and Getty that normally takes 4 hours with boring commercials, if I play them at double speed, I can play the full 4 hours of Armstrong and Getty in just over an hour. If I want to. But if I don't want to, so what? But the best thing is, if I don't listen to Armstrong and Getty today, when a new episode gets there or a new Clark Howard gets there, it will automatically load it into my podcast queue if I want. And when I'm done listening to it, it will take it out of my podcast queue. Hands-free. It just works great. Let me go ahead and go back into, so you can see, AirPlay, MacBook Pro, There we go. So there's the podcast, and here's where I can hit the 1 time, 2 time, etc. button. Okay. Oh, I can go half speed too. Let's listen. Let's see if we can hear half speed without screwing things up.
You have the right to do most of the time.
Yeah.
Insurance contract is to invoke what's known as the appraisal
Regular
clause.
speed.
And so you have the right, and
1.5
I'm sorry,
speed.
but make sure you're not bleary-eyed. You might want a magnifying glass, but you need to read your declaration, your auto insurance policy, and almost certainly you have the right to invoke a particular paragraph and sentence. It will
I used to do 1 and 2. I do 1.5.
Party
And then I
appraisal
can
of your
hear,
vehicle.
oh, what they say?
It
So I
means
hit
you're going,
the
almost certainly
15-minute
you have the
backspace.
right to invoke a
Or 15
particular
minutes
paragraph
forward.
and sentence.
It's like listening to music, but the beauty of you can listen. There's everything out there. A lot of us listen to Twit. Leo Laporte's. They have Mac Break Weekly every Tuesday. Well, if you don't want to watch it or listen to it live, they make it available that evening, and you have it with you. And I can keep up on all the Mac stuff. Andy Hanako, Brian Snell, iPad Today is a great one. iPhone Weekly. There's some great things out there. TWIT.tv is where you find their podcast, but you subscribe to them, and they're there on your iPhone or iPad if you want them. The other thing is, I take my iPhone and I can make it play through all my devices, so it's my center of entertainment for a lot of those things. But I keep my iPhone headset with me. I go into Home Depot. I'm listening to a podcast, or I listen to a great app, iHeartRadio. It's free, and it gives you a lot of stations that are out there. There's also AOL Radio, and most of the radio stations have their own app that you can listen to it direct. Capital Public Radio has one. You can listen to it. NPR has their own app. Podcasts are killer. You can learn whatever you want. There's some great podcasts. Adam Carolla has a killer podcast about cars. Now, probably my favorite app, well, we're going to talk about 2 apps, and it's on the iPhone. One is the built-in weather app from Apple. It's changed dramatically. Hang on here. I got to get it in the view you're used to. So the first one is it finds my GPS where I am, and it's the current location, all right? But I can add other cities. And for demonstration purposes, I've added quite a few cities because sometimes I want to show you what it's at night. So if you look right here, first of all, if you hit the Yahoo down here in the lower left, that will take you to Yahoo Weather for Roseville. The little Yahoo logo, okay? That's who the weather service is from. But if I hit the little table of contents there, watch what happens. It pulls up all the cities, this is new, all the cities that I have on my list. And it shows them to you. So I added Hilo the other day because it always rains in Hilo. And unfortunately, it's not raining in Hilo. But, well, you know, that's a good point. Or do they right now? Okay, so let's show you how I add this. I click the little tick down here. And now I'm going to hit the plus sign. And now this part's important. I don't just type Seattle. I start typing Seattle. And I let it fill in by searching so I get the correct one. Because otherwise I'm just naming something somewhere. And if I tap Seattle, Washington. Yep, you can see the raindrops. Thank you, Barb. My mom's from Seattle. We call it the Ever Rain State.
So that weather app is already on?
That's not on yours. It's on the iPhone.
Oh, okay.
It's looks like this. It might be in your utilities folder or something. It's built into your phone. Yeah, I have too many when I say launch weather. It does other things. Hit your home button. You're in a folder. And it might be nested in a folder. It is, yep, it was inside of one folder called weather. So tap it. Now, what's cool though is if we go back to Seattle in our weather, and if I tap right here, look what happens. It changes state, and it shows me the humidity. Chance of rain, 93%. Now, this doesn't mean it's really raining right there, but most indications are it's raining right there.
Well, look at now.
Feels like 50 high, etc.
What it says now.
And then this is your hourly. Those are forecasts, okay? That Sun GPS app that I had will also show you the current weather at that location. Like if I'm getting ready to watch sunrises or sunsets, I'll look to see if it's there. Now, if I click back on the little index tabs there and hit that, I now have all my weathers again. Oops, I hit too high to get rid of notifications. Here's Monterey, one of my favorite places.
How'd you get Mesa?
I added it.
Because it doesn't come up on mine. I mean, it did it for us.
Gotta wait, gotta be slow. You may have a slow internet connection. MESA. You can also use the zip code. The first one in the list is always your current location. So, Rancho Cordova is where I live, Roseville is where I am. And you'll notice, see the little tick for the GPS is right there. And you'll notice the clouds are kind of moving behind.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's exactly that windy out there. It's just for looks. No, but you can sort them. So let's show you how. So I hit that. Oops.
Sacramento's my first one.
Does it have a little?
No.
Then you have that turned off.
Oh, my GPS.
So on the new one, if I press and hold on Grants Pass, let's say, and then drag it down, it'll go below Selma. Okay, that's new. The old one you used to have to pull up the little thing and move it. But press and hold, and it moves whichever one you want in what order. Okay? I can still go and tap on Roseville, and I swipe my hand and go like this, like this. I'm swiping from right to left. I can also swipe from left to right. Okay?
Can you get more than 5 days? 10 day weather?
No, not on this unless you hit Yahoo Weather. And beyond that, it's not accurate anyway. So, like it's accurate for 5 days. Hey, Sean, is anyone else a little warm? I'm big. It takes a little while for it to update it. Could be the internet condition we're having. Could be that it's too hot in here.
But when you make that, my little arrow shows
Turn on location services in weather. So go to settings, location services, weather. It was on. First time you fired up weather, it probably would have asked you. But well, that's a good weather app, and it's a heck of a lot better than this. Watch this one. It's free, and it's Launch Yahoo Weather. You'll have to get it in the App Store, and it's free, and there's no add-on purchases. But look at this. So it's a beautiful screen. That's Roseville. Oh, that's where? Caseburg. I guess that's the area we're in. So there's San Francisco. And watch when I scroll up, I get more information. There's your 10-day forecast. And if you scroll up more, you get current conditions. You'll notice how the photo behind, Yahoo owns Flickr. And so these are photos from Flickr that are, say, they're photos of San Francisco, is where it's getting these beautiful photos from. You scroll up, you see precipitation. You scroll up, and you see a radar map. If I scroll up farther, I see the wind, and I see the sun, or the sunrise and sunset, and what the status of the moon is. Yahoo Weather. Now, this map, if I click on it, I just tap on it, it brings me up a full radar map, and look at this, up by way up in the north coast, there's some radar there. And then this thing allows you to play the radar. You know how the radar goes through a stream like that? So that's Yahoo Weather. It's free. That's a great app. And if I hit my little marks right up here, very similar to what is in the Apple one, it brings up my top ones up in their current location, New York, etc. Let's see what it's doing in New York. There's no weather on the thing. So I can scroll through. Oh, look at the beautiful photo. Now, as I scroll up, watch what happens. It makes the photo opaque. Okay, but it's still there. Yeah, they do kind of change, but I've seen the photos repeat because they have to get rights from the artist and things like that. But it's at Flickr again, and Flickr is a wonderful spot if you want to upload your photos. I send most of my good photos up to Flickr because it'll store them full size. You get 1 terabyte of free storage. Okay, oops. Yeah, I don't have that many in here. All right, that's Yahoo Weather. Probably my other most used app is Mint, M-I-N-T. On your computer, you can go to mint.com. Anybody here use Mint?
You started that.
So I'm going to go to Mint. It's a free app, and who makes it is Intuit, which is Quicken. Now, there's my checking, savings, credit card accounts. But it's not locked up or protected with a password. I don't care. You can't make any transactions and you can't find my account numbers. The most you can find out is what I have in those accounts. But how useful is this? I'm saying, wow, did that credit card statement post? Or if I'm traveling and all of a sudden I have some flags set up and it says, if someone makes a withdrawal, or if my credit card, if something gets for over $300, I get a little thing that says, hey, $300 withdrawal just happened. And I can check on that right away, and it's real time. We all go to Wells Fargo, we all go to Bank of America, we all go to our credit union, and we log in, and then they can't save our password, and we log out. And most of the time, you're not trying to do a transaction, you're just trying to look to see what's going on and see if that darn check cleared, or why that, where's my status? This gives you the status. Free. The only thing you get is occasionally you'll get advice. You can set a budget in here, but you can also have it so you can delineate things like if I purchase. It's real funny. I have one here. Let's see. My purchases. So I go to my credit card purchases. Sierra View Country Club. I bought lunch yesterday, right? It says gym. Come on, it doesn't know me very well. Ken, you weren't at the gym. But remember, this is a sports facility, essentially. So it's not gym. So I tap on it, and I change my category. Oh, it's a pending transaction. Yeah, so anyway, I can change it to the category I want, so I can have it use budgets. But the best thing is I can go to mint.com on my computer, and when I'm doing taxes at the end of the year, I can have it print out everything. Now, that's good for credit card transaction, ATM transactions, and checks, but yes, you can enter cash transactions and just have it show up on your thing. Again, you are not at risk of anything happening because your account number's not on there, and no one can do a transaction. That's what's different than visiting your bank website. And like I said, you'll occasionally, I have one of my business account, I have a monthly fee for the checking, and it says, you got charged a monthly checking, and you could get an Ing checking account and not get charged that, once a month. And that's what I pay for by using this. Very good question. Anna says, to set it up, yes, I had to put in all my information at each account. But remember, those of you that use Quicken, you're able to download that information into Quicken. And the way this works is, Quicken doesn't connect to the bank directly. There's a trusted intermediary, one company, and the banks know them, and they're very, 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 very secure. And again, it's just a pathway, so they can't do any transactions either. They're just... Quicken can read it, and they can read there. There's no direct connect. And that trusted source Mint also uses. So what I've had is my credit union upgraded the security that they needed. You had to get a more secure password. So when that happened, I had to, from Mint, it says, hey, we're not able to communicate to your bank. Tap here to fix it. It takes me to the thing. I can log in with my new one, and then it fixes it and comes back. But I'll tell you, I never log into any of my accounts anymore because it's all right here. And the best part is it can give me reminders. Not just remind. It can do reminders, but it does it. Hey, look, there was just a $300 withdrawal. Oh yeah, I know about that. So no problem. I keep going. And it's not something that keeps coming up and makes the phone go off or anything like that. But Mint's great, and you can do mint.com on your computer. It's just as safe. The only time you're exposed to anything is the initial time you set up. So I wouldn't be sitting at Starbucks and do it. And it's a very good, trusted source. Mint is huge. Now, I'm not much of a book reader. I do podcasts and things like that. But I know a lot of your book readers. So the Kindle app for the iOS device is wonderful. It's free because you pay for the books. But the cool thing is, I could be reading Kindle on my iPad, and I'm at page 35. And I pick it up on my iPhone, I'm still on page 35. So you can share your accounts with people, your Amazon Kindle accounts, but I don't recommend two people reading the same book at the same time, or you're going to always be in the wrong spot. I'm getting to. Next one is, thank you. It used to be called Overture, but now the Sacramento Library uses 3M Library is what it's called. And it's very neat. But what's funny about that is, if you think about it, you'd go to the library with your library card. I want War and Peace. Well, all of the copies are out. They'll be back on Tuesday. Come back Tuesday. Is it back here yet? No, they're a little late. So you have to get in line for popular things also in the library, because the library buys those titles. It's not just because it's electronic. There's all of a sudden available to everybody. Certain ones let them, but you also have audiobooks available that way too. Ebooks and audiobooks. Okay? That's 3M Library, like 3M, Minnesota Manufacturing and Mining, I think.
So it's MMM.
From books. iBooks is the next one I was going to talk about. iBooks, I'm sorry, what was 3M as in 3, the number 3M. Like 3M Scotch tape.
If you go to the public library, there's people there that will help you download the app and explain it to you. Make an appointment.
And they're very helpful. And you need a library card anyway to do it. And then you enter your library card remotely, and then it remembers it, and then you can check it in and check it out. You know, the only thing is, you won't have to do any overdue fees anymore, because it'll just make it so it's not available on your device at a certain time. So you're under pressure. Read it quick. The other one is Apple iBooks, very similar to Kindle, and it's built in, and you buy them from the iBook store. The other thing we have in iBooks, and I'm going to show it to you on my iPad, is you have many things. Now they didn't get rid of the skeuomorphism on this bookshelf, but I have a few things here. I have, this one's really cool. This is what's called a textbook, and it's very interactive. I don't think I have it loaded here, but if you ever get the chance, it's free. It's the new part of textbooks. Apple, last thing Steve Jobs did before he died was he wants to revolutionize the education business, because textbooks are a mafia scam. They really are. They're very expensive, and you used to be able to sell your books, but now textbooks in the schools have, type in this code for your online content. A lot of books make it so if you were to resell that book for someone, that online content's only available to the original purchaser in one time. And textbooks aren't cheap. Every textbook that uses iBooks cannot exceed $14.99. And a lot of books will fit in one iPad. They do take up some room, but it's a lot better than a big backpack. And realistically, it's less expensive. That's why a lot of these school districts are going to it. Other people are doing online content like this too, but I really think that was great. Of course, then Apple got sued because they're trying to price fix. No, they were making it better for you guys, but they think that they were trying to price fix. No, they were trying to drive the prices down. Anyway, and Amazon complained they have better lobbyists. So, in the books, we have the books, and if you'll notice, I have a thing called collections. So if I tap collections, I have books, purchase books, and PDFs. So, PDFs, I have quite a few. I have the manuals for all my devices at home. My stereo, my microwave. I've gone online and found the PDF, I go like on the device, and I find the PDF of the manual, and I say open in iBooks, and it shows up right here.
Huh.
And I've got them all right here at my disposal. Here's my TV. Boom. Okay. Tap, back to library. What else I got here? Oh, so I also, there's free, Apple makes some free books for your iPad, Essentials and things, so they have probably a free iOS7 book. You can download them to your other books. But these are simply PDFs that I've sent to myself. So if I go like I'll do a Google search for my whiz bang mixer, and I find a PDF of my whiz bang mixer in Safari from my iPad or my iPhone, and I click on that, and it loads it so you can see the PDF, and then I say add to iBooks. Let me show you. I've got a spot, believe it or not, at kenspencer.com. We can go ahead and find that if the internet cooperates. Nope, because you can't really drag and drop them, because there's no way, you can't go between apps. So here is, and I encourage everyone, when you go watch these boring videos, there's a thing here called Mac Sheet. Until password hell gets resolved, you go to Mac Sheet, and this is going to click on, click below for password sheet. So if I tap this, it's loading my PDF of my password sheet, which has my number on it. It has Apple support numbers and the stores. It's loading. It's supposed to be loading. This is under Ken Spencer and under Mac Sheet. Yeah, let's see if I'll do it on the phone here. Sorry for the delay. Jeopardy theme song again. See, when I click on this, it's supposed to open. Boy, our internets have come to a stall, so hang on one sec. We'll probably be able to do it on the phone here. It's being a little more responsive. What I'm actually doing is trying to click on the PDF, and once the PDF loads in Safari, I can download it to it. Okay, so Ken, come on. Oh boy, it is slow. There we go, Mac Sheet. Click on that. It's not fully downloading. Come on. I'm sorry. All right, let's come back to that while it's loading. I'll let it load on my iPhone. So we go back. Oh, so now I want to go back and see what app I was just working on. Rather than go back to home and back and forth, I go to my home button and double tap. And it brings up multitasking. Okay? So I can swipe and look at all these apps I've been using, right? I can go back and forth to all of them. The most recent, they're in order they were most recently used. So remember, I was on Safari looking at that. Oh, well, here I am. I go back to my iBooks. Okay? Now, what I wanted to point out here in iBooks is up in the left-hand corner when I hit Store, that takes me to the iBooks store. There are free books there. Winnie the Pooh is free. It shows you what's going on. Life in the Earth, Planet Earth is there. And you can see these. And there's reviews. And you can also get samples of books, just like on Amazon. If you have the Kindle app on your device, you cannot buy your Kindle books from the Kindle app, because Amazon didn't want to give Apple 30% of it. The way Apple works with everything in the App Store, everything, is the developer gets 70%, Apple keeps 30%. So on the free apps, Apple's doing it for free. On the dollar apps, the developer gets 70 cents, but Apple's doing the credit card transaction, they're storing it on the server, they're doing all this, and that's very fair. They're taking 30% for being the middleman, but really orchestrating it all. the developer gets a clean 70%. Amazon says, well, we can't give that up on it. So what you have to do, you go to Amazon.com in your browser, and you say, buy this book, and then there's a button that says, download it to my Kindle app for my iPad. They make you get out of it. And to be honest, Apple didn't like that, but the problem was they had to be fair. They make it a blanket statement for everybody. They don't want to make exceptions. They helped Amazon make a route around it because it's not bought within the App Store. The app you got for free, though. All right. There's tons of books, and on the books, like I said, you get some free trials on it. Let's go back to this multitasking. I'm going to double tap the home button again. I get this multitasking. So if you have an app that's misbehaving, how do I quit that app? Well, I'm going through here, and I say, well, oh, VLC is one. I don't want VLC right now. So while I'm in multitasking, which I got to by double tapping, I simply go here, and I say, go away.
Yeah.
Go away. I touch it and bring it up. Okay? And I want to release this. I just hit the home button and I'm back to where I was. Double tap the home button and off goes the iBook Store. Okay? Sometimes an app may crash when you first fire it up, or you may be doing something, and then you fire it up again, it doesn't do anything. So at that point, you go back to multitasking and force quit the app, and you're back to where you should be. And you can restart the app. You don't have to restart your device. All right, we talked about books and reference and stuff. There's two incredible resources for information, whether it be podcasts or in their app, TED. You guys have heard about the TED conferences, I'm sure. Incredible speakers. Very long speeches. You can get them audio only or get them with video. But the other thing is, there's an app that's free. If you go on your Mac to iTunes, you'll see it at the very top. It's called iTunes U. And I'm going to go find iTunes U. Oh, there's a reminder. Class break. Sorry, we've got to go. Yeah, we got 5 minutes till our break. So that little reminder popped up. So I'll hit close it on my iPad, and it'll turn off on my other devices. I'll try to get the PDF downloaded during the break. All right, so it was iTunes U. iTunes University is, it says iTunes U would like to give me push notifications. Push notifications is when you're like at the Grand Canyon, you're over on the precipice. What this means is, when we did podcasts earlier, remember I said you can subscribe and new ones get there? It can give me a reminder, just like popped up on my screen, and say, hey, there's new podcasts available. I go to the thing and find out I don't need push notifications, but if I said yes, allow push notifications is when there's a new class gets updated. Let's say I'm doing a calculus class from Harvard, and a new class gets loaded up, it could send me push notifications. I usually turn it off. I don't like it. When you watch Pete do these things, he has all this stuff going on, and, you know, so I say no, don't allow. Now, this is what I like it to sync with my other devices. Now, that's good, because if you're watching, it's just like the book, you're watching on the iPhone, etc. I don't have any iTunes classes in here, so you can browse, subscribe to free iTunes. So, iTunes University has classes and lectures from Stanford, Harvard, MIT, Purdue, USC. Doesn't get much better than that. And they're all free. Okay? It's a huge resource. That and TED are both great, great resources. We talked about Google Search earlier, Google Maps. All right, before we go on the break, and during the break, I'll try to get the PDF downloaded. Launch Google Translate. Does anyone here have workers they deal with that sometimes English is their second language. Okay? So, there's a free app called Google Translate. By the way, we're going to soon have it where you speak it and it'll shoot out the new...
I'm really sorry about this.
Siri, we're having... The internet is... Yeah. Well, that's, you know, that's what's funny. It's Apple... Everybody beating up Apple. Well, there's no new innovation on there. They didn't make the new iPhone make coffee for you in the morning and all this. Yeah. And Apple's been resting on their laurels since the iPhone. But it just so happens they put out the iPad 2.5 years later, and look at how well it's done. What they miss is Apple is about to start selling iPhones to the largest cell phone provider in the world, China Mobile. And there are 44 million people on China Mobile that already have iPhones. They're getting them in gray marketed. So, they missed that. So I'm going to do Google Translate here. Now, Google Translate, and I'll show you this because the difference between the iPad and the iPhone, this is one that's truly... Oh, I think they did end up doing it for the iPad. Let's see. Translate. This is a free app called Google Translate. Ah, they finally made it iPad also. So, this is the screen. I'm going to convert English to Spanish. I don't use Siri. I use this little microphone right here, and I say, where is the nearest train station? Okay? But you know what? I don't know how to say that, so...
¿Dónde está la estación de ferrocarril más cercana?
She's good.
Really good.
So, oh, you know what? I'd rather hear it in French. So there it is in French.
Où se trouve la gare la plus proche?
Okay? Now, I have 85 languages. This is actually on an Android too, because it's Google. 85 languages. Not all of them will speak it, but it can go the other way. And we're going to do this tough. I don't know French, Spanish. I'm going to flip it. Uno más cerveza, por favor.
Yeah.
One more beer, please.
Awesome.
Came out a little too easy there.
Yeah.
And I don't drink. Can you imagine if I had a beer belly? Actually, what's funny is they've improved it because it used to just not even do it from me. My best friends that own La Placida restaurant, Angie is she's been a U.S. citizen for like 30-something years. Jesse grew up here. But Angie speaks fluent English, but she has an accent. And it angers her so bad that Siri doesn't understand her. So we switched Siri for her. She can use Mexican Spanish, and it does it fine, but it'll put it in English for her. Not for this, but for Siri. And it really, because she is such a proud and such an intelligent person, but it gets under her skin. All right, so we're going to do our little break. You guys can come up here and play with Google Translate if you want. I will stop the recording and export it.